Welcome to the importance and power of reading. I'm Michelle, the computer lady, your host. During some awful dark times in America, Black people were denied the ability to read, to learn how to read, to write, or to even own books. And that has hampered our communities up until this day. Now we're going to have important conversations about the importance and power of reading.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's segment on the importance and power of reading. I have a phenomenal and outstanding young man. He's a former NFL football player. He also is a producer. He hosts the show Sip and Talk with Freema. Everybody, I want to welcome to you, Alan Williams. How you doing, Alan?
Good, Michelle. How are you? How are you?
Oh, I cannot complain whatsoever. None at all. So, do me a favor and tell everybody about you, some of the other things that you're doing, and let's get into this conversation as we talk about the importance and power of reading.
Not an NFL player, but I played football in Japan, so pro football player in Japan. U.S. Navy also recently retired this year, June 30th, 2023. So currently doing kind of something that you're doing now, behind the scenes. You need Lockheed Martin, great company, took me on for my expertise from the military side. So right now, I'm a senior test engineer for them, doing cool things and stuff like that. So I'm very happy with them. They've been treating me well. But my military stint, man, I had a great time, met great people, traveled all across the country, total of 53 countries. When I played football in Japan, man, I met great people. Still got people over there playing that I know, coaches over there that I know. So just had a splendid time and had a great time and stuff like that. So right now, I'm currently in Denver, Colorado. And I currently help my brother and my friend, good friend, Prince Dykes, also that does this global financial children literacy, where he give kids, young kids, stocks, starting from kindergarten on. We want them to have there's something in their accounts. We always get approached with, with, other stuff and, finance and stuff like that. It's not being taught in schools. So, we want to, bring that back into schools. And, the brain stage when you're young is early. So you want to distill that in the kids now while the stage in the brains are early, because you retain knowledge at a young age very well, instead of you wait until you're old, or and your brain is old and you don't want to retain that knowledge, or you just so you just want to get in those kids, and we're trying to spray that across the nation. So I've been helping out with that, and been doing successful with that. So I've been dipping and dabbing also into like the wrestling scene. So
I saw.
Yeah. So I've been a big wrestling fan since I was a little boy. So just been dipping and dabbing into that. So been doing a lot of this helping out with some promotions and stuff like that. And then doing donations with that. But that's been fun. I think promotions. One of the promotions, especially like One Revolution Wrestling, that's been allowing me to help and just take part, and stuff like that. Got a big event coming up on November 19th, and we have a WWE legend that's coming to Saudi Arabia. So, yeah, can't wait for that to happen, and doing pretty good things.
Wow, that is amazing. I'm really happy to hear about that. Now, Alan, you talked about financial literacy, and that's really, really important because we're talking about helping kids having generational wealth from the gate, not waiting until they're older, but right now. So I really commend you guys on that. That is phenomenal. Now, let me ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
Did you like reading as a child, or did you struggle? And if so, how did you overcome it?
So I think when I was small, I had kind of like reading, but as you get older and stuff, I know I was in middle school, like didn't like it too much. So I kind of struggled with it a little bit. I know I had a few teachers that got on me. I remember one teacher, but they got on me, and my parents used to get on me. I remember my dad, my mom, especially my mom. I used to sit at that front table. She used to make me just sit and read this book and read these books. We had these hard books, kids today, they come with iReadies and all that stuff, Google Chromes and stuff. But back in our days, we had books. So I had, we had these levels. I don't know if you remember, we had these levels of books, like level 1, 2, 3, 4. I remember this book, fourth grade, green. As first grade was soft cover, but as you get up in the grades, the books got hard cover and it got thicker. I remember in fourth grade that book was thick. It was a green thick book. I don't remember the name of the book, but I was looking at that book. I was like, "Oh, I gotta read this." So I remember my mom used to sit me at that table. I want to say like 7 o'clock at night, and this used to force me to read, and back in those days, teacher used to like, hey, in the classroom, you raise your hand in class, you had to read out loud. So I remember like, you know, you could certain students and stuff like that, you can tell like they were shy to read. I was one of those ones that at first I was shy a little bit, but at time I was progressing time and stuff like that. As I was along my peers and stuff like that, I got kind of used to it. So I like start like participating and stuff like that and start like reading out loud. But reading for me, it was like off and on, but I know in high school, yeah, I did not like to read. I was more of a show me and I can do it, hands-on person. Kind of, I'm like that still today, but the job field I'm in right now, it's a lot of reading involved. So you gotta read. So
Well, most people are tactile learners. They learn with their hands,
yeah,
and some people are visual learners. The thing about it is, you know how important it is. Now, did you have a favorite book when you were little?
yeah, I had that. So you go to the library and so the Care Bears was this unique book. It was like a solid red book, skinny book. Go to the library, you look through all the books, and you see this little red skinny book, and it ain't had no title. You had to actually open the book and then look at the book and then say, "Oh, the Care Bears." You see that little blue Care Bear or that red Care Bear. So yeah, the Care Bears. I used to like this looking at the Care Bears and stuff like that. The Bernstein Bears. Um, what else? I think it was it was one book. It can't come to my mind, but yeah, I know the two books that come to my mind is the Care Bears and the Bernstein Bears.
Awesome. Now, you talked about struggling reading, and it's not so much a struggle, I think, because I got four brothers, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not that you guys don't want to read. You want to go out and play.
Yeah,
You want to be outside with your friends.
exactly. I want to go outside. I want to shoot hoops. I want to go play street ball in the streets. Yeah.
But now in your job, you know how important it is. So when we talk about reading, who was your major influencer? Was it mom, dad, a mentor at school, brothers and sisters? Who helped you kind of get through that, knowing that, hey, you can play later, but you got to get this work done now?
I think it was a certain teacher. My seventh grade teacher, Miss Marilyn Edie, and she was hard. Man, she was hard. She was a tough cookie, one of those tough teachers, and one of those teachers that we need today. This come over there and not scream and holler, but this tough,
What
and what it is, one of those teachers that cares. A lot of these teachers they come to school now just to get a paycheck, and you know, you had with those teachers you had back in the day, it was just tough. You know, she was tough and she was on me, you know, and she was maybe stay in class, stay for don't go to recess. You're not doing this until you read this. And then also in high school when I was in my upward bound programs, all like the mentors and stuff that I had in there. Miss Gwendolyn Phillips, she ran the program and stuff, but all the mentors and all like the college students she had at a university that helped in that summer program, that just, you know, when we was in that summer program and we had to go back to high school that following year, that told us, hey man, college ain't nothing to play with, or this ain't nothing to play with. So, hey, you need to focus. You can't just play sports. They don't want no dummy in college. You know, you can't just play sports and not have grades and stuff like that. So yeah, so it's and it's just some of those folks like that, you know, that you know you encounter and interact with, they'll lead you down the right direction, you know. And then it's surrounding yourself with folks that, you know, that you see that you're like, wow, okay, they doing this. Well, maybe I need to buckle down and do what I need to do.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, you know, we got to take a small commercial break. We're going to be back with my guest, Alan Williams, as we discuss the importance and power of reading. Stay tuned.
Black life, black inspirational stories, education, luxury, health features. Welcome to the new Black Television Pick TV network, where being in the black is luxury, it's accountability, and it's seeing what you look like in the new face of television. Pick TV network. Come join us.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the importance and power of reading. I have an outstanding guest. I've got Alan Williams, pro ball player, Japan, also a veteran. We really appreciate your service. And we're talking about how there are mentors and teachers that helped us, number one, start to get into reading, because we know we have to, in order to have careers, businesses, know how to read. Thank you so much, Alan. Welcome back.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, what are you reading these days? I know you're working for Lockheed Martin, and I know that your job encompasses a lot of reading. But tell everybody a book or two that you might be reading right now.
The stuff that I have to work on for the job. Can't really
Okay.
say what I work on, but it's just a lot of manuals and stuff that I have to read for the job. Also, I read, you know, a lot of stuff like you know, just the financial stuff that, you know, my boy Prince puts me on a little bit. So just to get into that, you know, since, you know, I had to just dig in and learn everything, because it's just certain things that I got into. So it's just certain books that he's put me on, but he hasn't given to me yet. So once he gives it to me, I definitely like give you the title of those books. But a lot of manuals. And the reason why, because, you know, I had, you know, had to go and get in the nitty gritty quick, because, you know, when you get those type of jobs, they want you to like get in the grind, make sure you know it quick, but, you know, don't play, and then just get in the grind. So,
Well,
yeah.
let's talk about Lockheed Martin for a minute, because I know about Lockheed Martin. And for people that don't know, especially young folks that don't know about Lockheed Martin, they're in aerospace, they're in aviation. Am I correct?
Yes.
And because of that, in the engineering portion, there is not only manuals, but there's diagrams, there are things that there's checklists, because you work with engineering teams.
Yes.
And the job that you perform, you can't have mistakes. You can't have, oh, well, we forgot to put this piece of an engine in.
Exactly.
And the plane's going up and the plane malfunctions.
Exactly.
So that's why when you say a lot of manuals, people don't understand how crucial that is. That number one, you just got on this brand new career path.
Yes.
Number two, you have to make sure that you're up to date, because
Yes.
aviation parts, everything is changing. We're talking about computerized systems, AI.
Yes.
We're also talking about engineering and jet propulsion systems.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to know about Lockheed Martin.
You know, you got to understand, their accounting, you know, it's not just like you have, you know, this guy's, you know, does this guy does this guy does that, this gal does this. You're responsible for this. So they're holding you accountable. So they, you know, you got to make sure you're on your P's and Q's. You got to make sure that, hey, I know this. You got to make sure that, hey, I'm knowledgeable of this. And you can't be half stepping. If you don't know it, let them know you don't know it. And go find out about it. Or like you said, go read about it. Pull up the manual, look it up, and read it, right? But don't sit here and act like you know something or act like you know something about it, and then you don't know it, and then you mess up something, and then now it's a whole bigger situation. So you don't want that, you know? So I always tell people, you know, when you're on a job like this, or you know, and they're counting on you to do your part, make sure you're doing it right, and make sure, you know, you're studying and you're reading, and then, you know, and you just you looking through your manuals and you retaining the knowledge, you know. So
Well, that's very important, because we know
exactly.
reading is fundamental, but comprehension is essential. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't understand what you're reading, you can't apply the knowledge. And that's one of the reasons why when you come into these jobs and these particular fields, that's why not only is there reading, but there's a level of comprehension that you have to be on in order to excel and be successful.
Exactly. And I think that's the biggest thing, Michelle. Like, you know, some people like be afraid of like saying, I don't know. Like, I'm not afraid. Like, I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna ask questions. Like, I don't know. I don't know. You know, I'm gonna ask. You know, I came in the first day. It was like, well, how do you get? I was like, because I ask questions. Like, I want something done. I'm, you know, I guess the military. I mean, I'm gonna go to the person. I'm gonna ask them. I'm not gonna shy away. I'm gonna go to the person. I'm gonna ask them. I need something done. Hey, so and so. Hey, I need this. Not gonna sit here and try to like wait. You know, I can ask. You know, and say, hey, look, you know, run it by them, you know, without being disrespectful, but just run it by them. Hey, look, check your email queue. Hey, I sent this to you, know, and hey, I got this in. So, and hey, I don't know this, or hey, I need this, so, some of those guys, they just like, I just wait. Nah, man, I got to get it done. Got to get set up. So that's just my mentality. It's like, well, how you get stuff done so quick? Like, that's just me, man. Like,
well, you want to shine, and the part about shining and being in your integrity is always doing your best, even when people aren't looking. That's one of the reasons why when we talk about military, because Veterans Day is this month.
Yeah.
And the one thing about being part of the military, my family, I was born in the military, I was born on the base.
Yeah.
Was in the military. Discipline and integrity.
Exactly.
You do what you do regardless of whether people are looking or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's important. Also, when we talk about this reading journey, we talk about how you have to be fundamentally sound.
Yeah.
Because the one thing about reading, it encompasses every facet of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter whether you're a carpenter or a hairdresser, whatever. You have to read. Doesn't matter whether you're an engineer, a scientist, or a doctor. You have to read.
Gotta read.
even as a pro football player, you guys have to be able to read your playbooks. You got to be able to do research on other teams, the people that you're playing against. You need to know the person that you might line up against. You got to be able to see what their stats are, how fast they are.
Yep.
And all of that's part of it.
Exactly.
Now, we're talking about you as a professional. We know reading plays a very important part because you're telling, I got to read those manuals. I've got to get this stuff down cold. I got to be able to apply it. So in your professional life, reading has made you successful in the military, and it's making you successful in your current occupation, correct?
Yes, ma'am. You know it.
Oh, absolutely. Now, what is exactly do you do, or can you divulge? Because I know you work for Lockheed Martin, and you might not be able to disclose that information.
Say again?
I said, what is it exactly that you do? What's your exact title at Lockheed Martin? You might not be able to, to disclose that information because you're working for a major corporation. And
I can say the time. I'm a senior test engineer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So as a senior test engineer, and I know that you read a lot of manuals, what are you testing?
Can't
Are you
say
testing parts? Okay.
Yeah.
But working on your level, and that's why we want to tell the kids out there and the parents, working on your level, you're working in an area that's classified. That means, number one, you got a security clearance and you got to be smart. They're not going to let just anybody work in these areas. Am I correct?
Exactly. Correct.
And that's one of the ways that reading has helped you. Now, you have children, right?
Yes.
So how do you help your children make sure that they read well and comprehend? What are you doing? What are you and your wife doing? Or you and your fiance, or you and your significant other? Because I can't assume that you're married. I didn't ask.
Oh yeah, my wife. Yeah, man. So like I tell you, like these kids today, they have like these iReady programs on these Google Chrome. So I know my son, he log on his iReady, he reads a chapter every day. He do not play games on the weekday. No game system on the weekday. My daughter, she don't play game system, but no iPads during the week. And they for the iReady, that's their books. So they'll log in on the iReady and they'll read a chapter, like a paragraph or something every day on the iReady. So that's how they retain their reading. And I know last year he used to go to like the after school tutoring and stuff like that. That really did help them that one-on-one with the teacher. And because sometimes you get distracted or goof off, or you get distracted with kids and stuff like that. So that one-on-one time with the teacher, told them, hey, go to tutoring. So last year that helped them out significantly. But my daughter, she's good. Like teacher said, she's loved, reading in class, participating and stuff like that. She's like the, boss around the class leader type, that's just her mentality and stuff, So, but and my son, he kind of like on the quiet side a little bit, but I'm telling him like you need to like get out there a little bit. So, that getting away from games, especially during the week, but reading a chapter every day, and then just doing like a paragraph or something. I know my wife, she'd be on him a lot with that. She harder than me, so. Yeah, she harder than me.
Well, that's one of the things about having a good partner.
Yeah.
You're gonna take up your slack because you work a lot, and I know she works as well. We're gonna make sure that your kids are well educated, and
sometimes I'll be knee deep in his laptop, so or whatever we doing. So, but she be on them like, so she don't play in that education.
I love it. Well, this time goes by fast. We got to take another commercial break. We're going to be right back with my phenomenal guest, Alan Williams, as we discuss the importance and power of reading. Stay tuned.
Since 1877, Jackson State University has been training students for a life of service and leadership to impact our global society. Ranked among the best HBCUs in the country, Jackson State University offers 47 undergraduate, 37 master's, 1 specialist, and 13 doctoral degree programs. Whether you're interested in the arts, education, public health, the sciences, or business, we're here to take you from ready to JSU ready. Visit jsums.edu and apply today.
Are you a company, business, or service that believes in social responsibility? Would you like to make a positive impact? You can. You can sponsor this program and be seen by 2 million viewers on the PIC TV network. Call 770-367-1268 for more information today. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Importance of Power of Reading. We're having a rousing discussion with Alan Williams as we talk about not only the importance, but how to get our kids to read more. He was talking about making sure that during the weekday, during school days, that they're reading their chapters. They're in iReady. Last year, he was tutoring or getting his children tutored to make sure that they stay on grade level. Now, since we've segued into that, do you have books in your home for your kids, or do you take your kids to the library to read?
They have books on there here, and then sometimes, it's like the digital books and too. So, everything's going digital now. Yeah, so they can pull up the what do you call it, the Amazon, what do you call it? The Amazon
The
Kindle? Yeah, the Kindle, and pull up books there. And then you have like these books that read to you. So,
Audible?
Yeah. So
absolutely.
A lot of people can comprehend like that, that'll get you out that habit too. Like you listen and comprehend like that. Somebody's voice is to read to you. You comprehend like that too. But they have books here, but that iReady is like their bread and butter because that's what they do in class. That's what they do in school. That's what their homework assignment is on. That's what they do all their tests and everything on. Like I said, that's like their new book, and so, that iReady, if I can just assign them, teachers there have like, hey, you can, log into their iReady and you can have them do this little game or this little chapter or this little reading assignment. So we just assign those.
Cool. And so the kids, when they see you reading your manuals, they see your wife doing her thing.
Mm-hmm.
That modeling is also important. Now you talk about your daughter, she doesn't have any problems, but since you didn't talk about your son, let's talk about male children for a minute. Let's talk about boys in general. One thing I know, having 4 brothers, is it's not that boys don't like to read. They like to read things that they're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
They like to read, like my brothers love comics.
Okay.
So does your son read comics? Do you read comics with him? Other little things, because what I find is, like you want to go out and play. I'm sure your son is a lot like you and he wants to go out and play.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get your son a little bit more grounded so he can be as successful as your daughter?
Just just to show him like that and importance, what I'm saying, of like just reading and just like life in general. Like if you want to do something, like I put it like this, I'll take like a game that he like, and I say like, how are you gonna know how to play this game if you don't read it or read the manual or read the instructions? I said, so how do you learn how to play this game? I said, what do you have to do to play this game? Like you just learn it, or you had to like look and read it. And I said, I said, it's the same thing with everything else. Apply it with everything else. I said, so just like these little Pokemon cards you be reading. I said, the same thing. So how you're supposed to trade this card or trade this high card or whatever, or this is this big card or this is this. I said, so the same thing. I said, you got to read it. I said, so you won't get blindsided or get, cheat out or trading a card or, or take a low card, right? So I said, so same thing applies. Playing this Fortnite or playing whatever, you're reading, trying to, beat the opponent, strategizing. So you reading, you on your little iPad, you looking up stuff, you reading. You actually reading directions. You looking up stuff. So you on YouTube, you looking up stuff. You actually reading or you looking up directions and stuff like that, how to get this or how to find this. I said, so same things applies. When you're in school, same thing applies. The reason why I took that game away, I said, because you put more focus on those doggone games instead of putting more focus in school. So I said, so now it's kind of reverse now because, his grades are better now. His grades are better. Yeah, way more focus now and way more active in school now and great improvement, and and that way, he was in those games, he was just like wanting to come home and play those games. Now, like, nah, we ain't doing that.
And that's the part of parenting.
Yeah.
You got the good part, you got the fun part, but you got the serious part. And the serious part is making sure that our kids buckle down and read well.
Yeah.
Now, since you talked about that, let's talk about the state of literacy for a second. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to talk about the state of literacy among children, adolescents, and adults. Mm-hmm. What do you think the state of literacy is across our nation? And if it's not good, what do we need to do to meet the challenges to make it much, much better?
Learn it. It's not being taught. So that's why it's not being taught at an early age. Like checkbooks is not being taught to be wrote no more. None of that's, I'm not seeing a check writing class. I'm not seeing a financial literacy class being taught first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade. We're not seeing this, So I think it should be taught in class. I think it should be mandatory taught, not just elective. And same as just like Spanish. I think it should be mandatory. If you go to other countries, English is mandatory. That's why all the countries are ahead of the U.S. right now. You know what I'm saying? If you go and you gotta, somebody that has to translate, where do you think they from? They don't look like us. They don't look like the other person. If somebody that's translating Mandarin Chinese, what's their name? They look just like they from China and they translate. So, or, vice versa. So if, every country that I went to, they're learning English. Okay. You go to another country and you start speaking English, somebody's going to recognize it. It's going to be broken, but somebody's going to recognize it. If I go here, somewhere in the country, and I start speaking Spanish or whatever, it's going to be hard unless I find another Spanish person. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. So, you have to find a translator. But as you talk about financial, let's get back into reading literacy because even before we get into financial literacy, if our children can't read, or if our people can't read, or if our nation can't read, or if our communities can't read, what do we need to do to get them into the sector where they're reading better, they're reading more, and they're comprehending more? Are we doing that? And if not, how can we get there? How can we get everybody to rise together on this reading journey?
Man, it's complicated because you got a lot of adults that can't read. So it's complicated. So that, like I said, it starts at a young age. So for me, Start now. You know, just break the cycle now with the young adults. You know, whatever futuristic or whatever thing that they have now, there's people just got to get on the same page, right? The world is moving, the future is moving, okay. And I know some people are, you know, they're stuck in their ways, right? But you got to move along with the future, and you got to move along with these kids. You know, so whatever they're doing, you have to kind of like do it with them and make them be comfortable. Because if they're not comfortable, they're not gonna learn. Okay, you got your old ways. You can always revert back to your old ways if you know if that way don't work. Okay, and then you can go to their way, be comfortable in their way, teach them in their way, so they can be comfortable. And then you can say, hey, you know what? Hey, well, you know what? I got my way too. Let me show you this way. So now, because now you had a generation where they can learn, they got their way, and they can go back and they can learn our way. Because it's just the way the world is now. So I would say that a lot of teachers and a lot of professors, they need to just like revert to the kids of the way their minds is today. You know, it's technology driven. Okay. Everything is on tablets and stuff now. They need to find a solution where like all teachers gonna be on one accord. You know, one teaching this way, another teaching this way. I seen that a lot. Well, I teach math this way. Well, no, well, I teach math this way. Or I teach reading this way. Well, no, I teach reading that way. It just needs to be a set standard. But these kids today can learn both ways. They can learn the old way, but they can also learn the way that they kind of want to be taught, which is future driven. Because the way the world is going right now, it's going in the future. So I think that's the major issue. You know, there's some teachers some people just set in their ways.
Well, absolutely. Some people are set in their ways, but also let's hit on the fact that you said there are a lot of parents that can't read.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the parents, because parents that can't read usually generate children that struggle reading or don't read well.
Yeah.
So if you're a parent out there that's not reading well, there are several literacy programs. You can go to community colleges, they have GED, they have reading tutors, and a lot of this stuff is free.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be ashamed if you're not reading well. The only way to get better is to get help. And that way you can help your children. And you guys can read together. Even if you're reading picture books, you're reading magazines, you're reading comic books. As long as you're reading, that's the crux of the thing. And as far as teachers, every teacher has a different style. I'm an instructor.
Yep.
But I like what you said. Teach them the new and the old and merge it together.
Exactly.
This way, not only are you helping them, but as teachers, we're always learning. We're always picking up new information. So it's really, really important.
Yeah.
Now, because you work in the science field, you're a test engineer. Let's talk about the relationship between STEMs, science, technology, engineering, and math, because we know that it's now and it's the future. How can we get our children? How do you get your children gravitating toward STEM jobs, STEM careers, and even creating innovations in STEM?
Man, good question. To me, with those type of jobs, it's unique. It's very unique because, you know, I came in a unique situation. So, and you know, this AI stuff is coming up. It's coming quick to me. Me personally, I would say, and this is what we was talking about. I would say, you remember back in the days, because I don't see this in high school no more, in vocational schools. You remember in vocational school, they used to have like brick masons and all the carpentry and agriculture and home economics and all that stuff. I don't see none of that stuff no more. Welding and stuff like that. I don't see none of that stuff no more. Me personally, you know, you need to get a trade. Get a trade job. Get a trade job. They're gonna need welders. They're gonna need plumbers. They make great money. They're gonna need brick masons. They make great money. Nobody don't see them one of these jobs, but they make great money. And they're trades. You know, AI is, you know, all these technical jobs and stuff like that.
Well, let's break that down for a second, because you said get a trade.
Yeah.
You still need to know how to read to get a trade, number one.
You gotta know how to read to get a trade. Yeah.
Number two, just because it's a trade doesn't mean it's not part of the sciences, the technology, engineering, and math. I was a welder by trade.
Yeah.
That's the science of metallurgy.
Yeah.
Being able to weld, not the actual function, but the science of. You have to know the different properties of metal to know if they go together.
Yeah.
It's like you're not going to weld aluminum and steel together.
That's
Those
right.
properties don't match.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of STEM.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about a brick mason. You have to know the composition of bricks. You also have to know how to use a ruler. It's math.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to know how to crack a line and make sure that your bricks are level.
Yeah.
Did some of that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about carpentry. You've got to know foundations, forms, and structures, and it's still math. You still got to use that ruler. You still got to know about square footage, how to insulate, how many pieces of materials that you need.
Yep.
It's all part of STEM. So when you say trade, let's not forget that's still part of STEM.
Yeah.
It might not be AI, it might not be engineering, but it's a part of it.
Yeah,
and you can't have you can't do the high level stuff without the foundation.
Yeah. But we were talking about that. It was like, man, I was like, you know, like the word today, like trades. I would say get a trade, because
I've got several trades.
Yeah.
I believe in trades.
Yeah, I got several trades too. So that's why I said, because trades ain't going nowhere. Like, you're gonna always, like I said, you're always gonna need welding. You always gonna need bricks to build, or wood, or whatever. You always gonna need. You need to get your hair done. Nobody want to go out here with no piece of hair, right? So, right?
Exactly.
So yeah. So and then you know,
one of my good friends is a plumber. His father was a plumber.
He's gonna need plumbing. You're gonna need plumbing.
You're gonna need plumbers.
Yeah.
But again, that's still math and science. It's still part of metallurgy, because you're going to be working with copper or PVC pipes. You got to know how to use the tools, the calipers, all those things. To run plumbing lines, you got to know about plex and things of that nature.
Yeah.
It's still part of STEM, even though it's a trade. And you still have to know how to read.
Exactly.
But I love the trades. I've been a trades person for some years. Like I said, I was a welder by trade. I drove transit buses. I've even operated a train. I know how to run a backhoe, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. And
I know how to frame. And even framing, you got to know math.
But Michelle, like, and then you don't really need that much schooling. Like, you go to, and they pay so much money. Like, they pay a lot of money for these things, and they need jobs. They're knocking on doors. Every time every time I help out with a job fair, every time I see a job fair, I see a plumbing company there, or a great plumbing company there, or a great welding company there. Hey, then you make your welding talented, more precise, and more talented. Hey, come on, underwater welder.
Exactly.
You like water?
And that's why it's important, folks. And I want, especially you got your kids looking at this program today.
Yeah.
Whether you're in the trades, whether you're in corporate America, whether you have your own business.
Yeah.
We all have to read.
Mm-hmm.
Alan's telling you, he's reading manuals because he's a test engineer. He can't do his job without being able to function and read, without being able to comprehend the information and apply it to wherever he is and whatever team he might be on. That's why it's important to read. We can't stress it enough. That's why I got my good friend here today, because just being in the engineering department in our community, or knowing people that are of color that are engineers, it's a phenomenal thing. And if you want to be an engineer, you want to be a test engineer, you want to go into the trades, tell them, Alan, got to know how to read.
Got to know how to read.
Alan, I love you, man. I love all the things that you do, because I know that even with wrestling, you have to know kinetics. You have to know how to throw people. You have to know how to shift your body weight.
Yeah.
That's the science of motion.
Yeah.
Still got to know how to read.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, man, you are a blessing to my soul. You know, I love you so very much.
Same here, Michelle. You know it.
I really appreciate you coming on with me today. Now, you talked about the trades. Are there any other things that you want to give out to folks? Any things that you're doing right now, or an event that might be coming up that you want to tell people about?
One Revolution Anarchy. And yeah, shout out to Freema, Freema Kennedy. Let's sit and talk with Freema. Shout out to Prince Dykes, Global Financial Children Literacy, and it's Wesley's Learns. It's a book series. He has Wesley Learns Insurance, Wesley Learns Credit, and Wesley Learns Investments. Third book was written by with Hall of Famer Terrell Davis. So those are on Amazon and all bookstores and all book outlets. But he's doing good things with the kids and stuff like that. Global Financial Children Literacy is a nonprofit, so you guys want to donate and stuff like that, go ahead.
We'll have all the social media down in the comment section.
Yeah.
That way you can find it.
Yep.
Alan, you're a phenomenal father, a great community leader. I really appreciate your time, and thank you for joining me today on the importance of power reading.
Thank you for having me, Michelle. Enjoyed it.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Reading is every facet of life. If you're a parent and you don't read well, what's going to happen? You have a disadvantage for your children. It means that they're going to struggle to read as well. So if you're having problems reading, check out the library. They have programs, they have GED programs, they have reading programs, they have tutoring programs. If you're a child that's struggling reading, don't worry about it. Do something about it. Like Alan said, hey, he didn't like reading at first. He wanted to go outside and play. Most of us do. At the end of the day, though, if you're going to have a trade, if you're going to have a career, you're going to have a business, you're going to be able to read a contract. It's important that you read. I really appreciate you guys supporting me and spending time with me as we talk about the importance and power of reading. See you next week. You know what's going on in our society, book banning, and over 38 million children don't have books in their homes. Join me for some exciting segments as we talk about the importance and power of reading with my guest, Gabriel Hennons, the indomitable black man, here on the PIC TV network, channel 1000.